one thing I love about every NFL team. Welcome, football fans, to another BLV NFL video. In this video, I confess the one reason I love your favorite NFL team 2025 edition. If that sounds good and you want me to give you the reason why I actually hate your favorite team, let's get 100 Gronk spikes of the like button and I'll release my hate list for all 32 teams. But first, I'm going to show a little love. This is the one reason I adore your team. Let's go in alphabetical order, beginning with the Arizona Cardinals. I love James Conner and Trey McBride and their tenacity when they step on the field. I love the way that James Conner goes play after play. Just the engine of the Cardinal offense, the way he breaks tackles, the way that he catches the football, pass blocks. This guy has taken his off-the-field circumstances, hurdles, and he has leaped over them. He has survived, thrived, and actually gotten better as his career has continued. I just admire James Conner's work ethic off the field, and it shows on the field. This guy is a dog. And then Trey McBride, man. This guy catches the football play after play, down after down. He refuses to go down. And even when he's not scoring touchdowns, he's still lining back up, forgetting the last play, and continuing to turn in first down after first down, conversion after conversion. I just love the mentality of these two football players. The Atlanta Falcons, I love Bijan Robinson's running style. I feel like it's art. When I'm watching Bijan Robinson run, the choppy steps, the footwork, the change of direction, the vision, I just feel like this guy was made, born, gifted to the NFL to play running back. Just the way that he moves. And everything looks effortless, smooth, and precise. His cuts, his quickness, his combination of power and agility, and then the smoothness at which he catches the football. Everything Bijan Robinson does is from the mind and the body of a football artist. It is perfection. Next, the Baltimore Ravens. What I love about the Ravens is their explosive offensive plays. And you might even be able to extend this to the defense. But recently, I just admire Lamar Jackson in the backyard setting when he's scrambling around. That subtle just back step move. You know that one where he just like back step and then he jukes somebody, then he gets outside the pocket, and then he finds somebody downfield for a 40-yard gain. Rashad Bateman for a touchdown out of nowhere. Or you'll have Zay Flowers dip, duck, and dodge defenders in open field. Or you'll have Mark Andrews moss somebody, or Isaiah Likely rip through two tacklers. Or you'll have Derrick Henry just simply rush for an 80-yard touchdown without being touched. Or occasionally, he'll put his hands on a defender and chuck them straight out of the club. Either way, I love the Ravens for those explosive moments every single Sunday. The Buffalo Bills, I love the Bills because of Josh Allen's Superman mode. There is simply no player in football that can replicate the pure physical gifts of Josh Allen when it comes to speed, size, arm strength. Josh Allen is a crazy man on the football field. This guy will try to run you over. He'll try to hurdle over you. He'll try to jump over you. He'll try to throw the ball right past the ear hole of multiple defenders in order to put the ball into the smallest space imaginable. Josh Allen can just do things on the field that no other player can do, and that's why you watch the Buffalo Bills. Because when he's in that mode of carrying the ball 10 times a game, throwing the ball 40 times a game, and he's putting up 450 yards and 4 touchdowns, you want to watch the Buffalo Bills. That's what I love about Buffalo. The Carolina Panthers. I, first of all, really love the aesthetic of the Panthers. I love the logo. It's one of my favorite logos in the sport. I love the colors, the black, the blue. I mean, that is beautiful. And I also kind of like how they've been able to build around Bryce Young as a roster lately. And they've taken this Bryce Young narrative from his rookie season, twisted it around, and allowed him to thrive, hopefully in year 3, where year 2, they put an offensive line around him, and now year 3, they draft him a receiver. They have running backs. Like, I admire the way that they're building for a young quarterback. As a Patriots fan myself, who saw Mac Jones get ruined by the lack of support for an Alabama quarterback. So not only do I love the aesthetic, but I also love what they're doing from a roster management offensive standpoint. The Chicago Bears. I'm impressed by the new regime, and I'm impressed by the new vision of the Chicago Bears. Now, Caleb Williams was already in place, and yeah, the general manager is the same, but Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen have had significant impact, specifically Ben Johnson, on the way that this team is going to look, feel, play, and the type of players they're going to have. They just feel like a team that is transitioning to a successful period. I just get that sense that the adults have entered the building and they actually understand what they're building and what they're doing by drafting, weapons around Caleb Williams like Colson Loveland and Luther Burden, like having big signings like Drew Dahlman and trades for Joe Thuney, like the way they've built their offensive line, the way that they've gone about constructing around Caleb. It's just very smart, and I love it. The Cincinnati Bengals, I love when Joe Burrow is aura farming. I love when this guy has the Instagram clip of him doing the spinorama throw before the Buffalo Bills in a playoff game. I love the Joe Burrow fits before the game. I love the thirst traps for all NFL fans, and I also love the big plays that come on Sunday from Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. I mean, this team is just a lot of fun off the field and on the field. They're fun from the perspective of, just throwing the ball all over the yard, the detail, the precise nature of Joe Burrow's game that I think is just very unique in today's NFL. It's closer to the last generation of Brady and Breeze and Manning than it is to the current generation. And I also enjoy how he brings that creative flair inside his game by extending plays, but then also I think that it's perfectly complemented by the receiving core he has, especially Jamar Chase, who's a unique monster of a player. And then also the toughness that I feel like that Joe Burrow vibe has brought to Cincinnati. Now, I do think there are things that are frustrating about the Bengals, but there's without a doubt, this team is one of the most fun to watch and stay up to date with on or off the field, to be honest. The Cleveland Browns. No more Deshaun Watson, but a new quarterback circus. That excites me about the Cleveland Browns. You can always count on Cleveland for having a new quarterback competition. Dylan Gabriel, apparently being called too short already by the media. Shedeur Sanders throwing ducks in practice. You've got old man Joe Flacco, and of course you've got Kenny Pickett. Oh boy, how fun is it to be a Browns fan? But honestly, I love the dog pound. I love their fan base, and I don't think they should have to go through this every single year. But as a fan that is not an actual Browns fan, I love the drama that this organization continues to bring to the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys. I actually really like the pass game potential of both sides of the ball on this team. George Pickens being traded to the Cowboys makes them a lot more exciting, a lot more watchable, and the ratings are going to get even higher because you don't know if George Pickens is going to go for a 50-yard touchdown or if he's going to throw his helmet 50 yards. You also don't know if CeeDee Lamb is going to make a crazy play or, if Dak Prescott is going to poop himself in the biggest game of the season. At the same time, I also really think that their secondary has a lot of potential with Siobhan Revel being added, Trayvon Diggs returning from injury, and of course, Deron Bland, Mr. Pick 6. Then they also have a great pass rush. Love the re-addition of Dante Fowler, the new addition of Donovan Ezeraku, and Adigizua getting that extension, Micah Parsons being Micah Parsons. I think they've got so much potential in the passing game this year on both sides of the ball, which will make their games perennially watchable. That's for sure. Next up, we've got the Detroit Lions, who I just really enjoy recently watching the balance, explosiveness of their offense. And what I mean by that is they can hit you with a home run from the run game. They can hit you with a home run on a reverse to Jamison Williams. They can hit you with a home run on a screen. They can hit you with a home run on a bomb. They can hit you on a home run on a quick hitter. This team is just very explosive on offense. And I've just really enjoyed the Ben Johnson, Jared Goff element of the complementary play calling. But then also I've enjoyed the physicality of the offense in combination with the speed of the offense. I think Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams have taken this offense to new levels and have shifted the gears into turbo. I mean, this offense is explosive. It's fun. It's balanced. It's detailed. It feels like they always have a great plan every week, and it feels like they can beat you in any way, which as a football fan and a fan of the X's and O's and the matchups, this team really brings it on every week. The Denver Broncos. Sean Payton is still phenomenal. I still admire Sean Payton as a coach big time. He's been one of my favorite coaches in football and sports for a long time. I really like Sean Payton's combination of swagger, in some ways aura, but also I love his edginess, his toughness, and I also like his arrogance to a certain degree. These are things that people might not like about Sean Payton, but I've always found very likable and very entertaining. At the same time, I think he's incredibly smart as an offensive play caller, schemer, and overall coach. And I think that he has just been one of the most underrated professional coaches in sports pretty much since 2006. So Sean Payton has still got it, and he brought the Broncos back to where they want to be last season. The Green Bay Packers. I enjoy Green Bay, the history, the logo, the field, the colors. Every time I think of the Packers, I think of, Bart Starr. I think of Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. I think of Vince Lombardi. I think of that being the team. Honestly, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but if I were to say, who is the football team in my mind, even though I'm a Patriots fan, and I think their accomplishments have since passed the Packers, and although the Cowboys are more popular than the Packers, I think that the team that pops to mind as the NFL team, it's the Packers. I don't think that's the case for everybody, but that's the case for me. In a more modern perspective, I'm really intrigued about how Matthew Golden will fit into the Packers offense and how their offense may evolve under Matt LaFleur with a new weapon involved. Next, the Houston Texans. I really enjoy DeMeco's defense. I enjoy defenses that are fast, physical, have no regard for their well-being or body. And I just feel like the Texans have every element of a defense that I'm looking for. They can cover in man or zone with two awesome sticky corners, Stingley and Lassiter. Then they've got safeties that are kamikazes, right? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who we'll see this year, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Jimmy Ward, who's always been that type of player. They've got ball hawks like Bullock. They have crazy men at linebacker like Azeez Al-Shaair. They've got, the big thumpers. They've also got the guys that can really run and move like Christian Harris. They have defensive linemen that can really rush the passer. And they've got waves of them. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, who is just a art, just model of a defensive end. And you look at the defensive line, I mean, they're one of the best in football, fast, freaky, physical. I just love D'Amico and the way that he schemes it, and then also the way that they play. And I think that's influenced by his energy. Like, this team brings effort on defense constantly. Next, the Indianapolis Colts. I really love their weaponry. I think it's kind of underrated, which is part of why I love it. I've always liked Michael Pittman Jr. I think he's a very good receiver. I think he's a power forward type of receiver, at the same time being a very good possession receiver, at the same time being an underrated route runner. I really like what Mitchell can add to this offense as a second and third level route running threat. I love how Alec Pierce just became one of the best deep threats in football because of his size and speed combination. I love Josh Downs. I always love shorter, swifty, quick slot receivers, right? Very underrated. Jonathan Taylor at his best is a pure animal, run, power, speed, beast. And then you add Tyler Warren, who is one of the best prospects I've ever seen after the catch. So you're going to have guys that cannot be tackled. You're going to have guys that can stretch the field. You're going to have guys that can possess the football, guys that can convert first downs. Like, every element of their offense has a baller in all different stages of the way that you want to create offense for the Colts. The Jacksonville Jags. I love the idea of Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. I love that combination. Brian Thomas as a pure prototypical X. Man can fly. He's also big. And he can run routes at the second and third level with the best of them, stop and start really well. And he is becoming one of the best receivers in football. He already was as a rookie. And then you have Travis Hunter, who I think is going to add something a little bit different. Not only could he play offense and defense, but also this is a guy that can catch the ball underneath and create something. He could be involved in the screen game, the RPO game. And then, of course, he can also run some routes and get down the field as well. But I love how they perfectly complement each other. I also really like Brian Thomas is very quiet, but on the field, his game is nothing but, quiet. He's anything but it, and then at the same time, Travis Hunter is very, very modest, like very, very humbled, like just a good guy, almost too good of a guy in some instances. So yeah, I really like those guys. Then you've got Kansas City, the Chiefs. I mean, honestly, I don't love anything about the Chiefs. I'm just kidding. But I do like Steve Spagnuolo, and I do like Steve Spagnuolo in big games. I just have a big respect for game plan defense in big moments. And this probably spawns from my Patriot fandom, but I just think he's the best game planner in the NFL right now in a big game. Whether it's the Super Bowl, the AFC, NFC Championship, whatever it may be. I mean, this guy has seen it all, and he constantly brings it no matter his personnel. This is a guy that gets the most out of his personnel. This is a guy that has set the tone defensively in big games. Whether it's blitzes, whether it's all-man coverage, whether it's a mix of cover 2 blitz or it's zone, like this guy just finds a way, stacking the box to stop the run. Like, he finds a specific plan to help his Chiefs win. And I really admire that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Los Angeles, the Chargers. I love the baby blue. I can't deny it. I love the baby blue. I love the Chargers, just the yellow and the blue. I love the colors. I love the jerseys. At the same time, this is kind of going to sound funny, but I think a lot of people like the Chargers who are not Chargers fans, because the Chargers are always that fun, vibrant, good, but not great team. They're good enough to like them. They're fun enough to enjoy them. But at the same time, they're never great enough to hate them. That's why the Chargers are one of the most exciting teams for basically fans that are not fans of the Chargers. Because they don't feel close enough to feel the pain, but at the same time, they're far away enough to enjoy the product. All right? Then you've got the Los Angeles Rams. I love Stafford. I love the combination of him to Puka in recent years, and then now Devontae Adams. I'm very excited for that. Matthew Stafford, still the last gun remaining in the NFL when it comes to one of those last remaining old horses of the past generation. That's how I view him, at least. Still has a laser rocket arm, still can thread the needle in any window. And you've got Puka Nacua, who I just admire his toughness, like the amount of big hits he takes, the way that he contorts his body and makes extremely difficult catches. Time after time, route after route, play after play, the man is open and available for Stafford. And Stafford spams the young man. And he makes play after play. He breaks tackles. He makes plays after the catch. And now you're going to add Devontae Adams, one of the best receivers of this generation, one of the best route runners of all time. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch, especially in a Sean McVay offense. The Las Vegas Raiders. Not only do I love enjoy saying the Raiders, but at the same time, you guys know I love the Raider mystique. I love that the autumn wind is a pirate. I love the toughness. I love the grittiness. And it all is in the aesthetic, the black, the silver, and the black. And Vegas was a perfect home for them. I'm not going to lie. I think I even like the Raiders more now that they're in Vegas. And that might be a little bit off the wall because a lot of people like the Oakland Raiders, right? But that's mostly their fan base. I actually really like the vibe in Vegas. And then on top of that, Max Crosby is the modern version of what a Raider should look, feel, and be like. He's got that grittiness, but he's got that skill. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Raiders have always been. That grit with that skill, that's the Raiders. The Miami Dolphins. I enjoy the speed. I'm a speed fan. I love the cheetah at his best. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I saw him at a Florida Panthers game mic'd up. He seemed like a really good guy. I've been hating on Jalen Waddle just because he plays for the Dolphins. No real other reason. But he seemed like a nice guy. But Waddle is freaky fast. You've got Jonnu Smith, who breaks tackles left and right. One of the fastest tight ends in football. Devon Achane, also one of the fastest running backs in football. I mean, this is just a speed demon team. This is a track team, right? This is an Olympic 4x100 track team. So that's what I enjoy about them at their best. There's nothing better, than seeing the Dolphins in a sunny September game playing against some bad defense and scoring 60 points. I mean, that's a lot of fun sometimes. The Minnesota Vikings. I love their coaching combination, and I love their personalities, how they complement each other. Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores having some connection to the Patriots. Kevin O'Connell being drafted by the Patriots. Brian Flores being a coach of the Patriots for a very long time. I think that O'Connell brings that quarterback mind at the same time. I think he brings a little bit of that feistiness in his personality, kind of like Sean McVay in some ways. I think he's also a very good speaker, communicator, and leader and teacher of the offense. And then I think Brian Flores just brings a dog, like badass, like stone cold Steve Austin, glass shatters type of vibe where it's like nobody wants to mess with this dude. And his defense is exactly like that. His defense reflects his personality. It's aggressive, it's in your face, it's physical. Next, the New England Patriots. Well, I love most things about my Patriots, but right now specifically, I love this new excitement of the Mike Vrabel era. I've always been a huge fan of Mike Vrabel as a coach. I especially began to admire him as a coach. I thought in Tennessee he was excellent, but also as a player. I mean, I loved Mike Vrabel as a player. He was one of my favorite defenders on the Patriots just for his versatility. The guy that would catch touchdowns in the Super Bowl as a tight end, the guy that could play inside or outside linebacker, the guy that could lead the team in sacks, right? This guy was just an incredible player. And then you heard more and more stories about how he would go after Tom and how he would set the tone in the locker room and at practice. And this guy just transitions that into his coaching. And then at the same time, he's providing a new spark, a new hope, a new vision for this team. And I'm kind of tired of the Patriots being at the bottom of the league. I know it hasn't been very long, but it's a stark contrast to where the Patriots were at as close as 2018, just about 5 or 6 years ago, where they were still one of the better teams in football. And like they're still thought of that way, but it's been like a few years since they've actually put a product out there that's been competent. And I feel like Mike Vrabel is going to give us some flashbacks to that greatness, but at the same time, he's going to bring us something new, fresh, brilliant. So I'm excited for that. The New Orleans Saints. I am excited for the transition season of the Saints. I'm excited to see how this goes because for a long time, I've been complaining about how the Saints do not want to hit restart. They do not want to reset. They do not want to move on from Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And, they have really struggled to find that ability to stay competitive and also retool and rebuild. And I'm excited to see Tyler Shuck. I'm excited to see, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave in the offense. I'm also excited to see Kellen Moore and his vision as a head coach. I'm excited to see, this team as they transition to the future and what that looks like and what that becomes. It's not necessarily that I think they'll be good. I'm just saying, I'm excited for something new from the Saints, the New Orleans Saints, to be new. So that's what I'm excited for. The New York Giants. I love their pass rush. I admire, I respect the history, the lineage of this football team, right? Like Bill Belichick, the Giants, Bill Parcells, Phil Simms, the Giants, LT, the Giants, right? I think of those things, and I think of course, the 2 Super Bowls that my team lost to the Giants, and I think of Justin Tuck. I think of Osi Umenyiora. I think of Michael Strahan. I think of Kiwanuka. I think of Jason Pierre-Paul. I think of pass rush. And now you think of Abdul Carter, who I think is going to be special. And I love that he's in New York. It's just that playmaker being in New York on that side of the ball. Dexter Lawrence being the best nose tackle in football. Brian Burns being one of my favorite first edge rushers I ever scouted. There's a lot to really like about the Giants pass rush. The New York Jets. I love the Williams brothers. As a rival of the Patriots, it's hard to love the Jets. It's hard to hate them because they suck so much. But Quincy Williams and Quinnen Williams are stand-up guys, and they play their asses off, and they're constantly bringing great energy, and they're just great football players. I love a style of linebacker like Quincy, who just flies across the field and makes crazy kamikaze tackles. I love a big, powerful nose tackle who can bully an offensive line. That's Quinnen Williams. I love those 2 players. Then you've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I love the Saquon house calls. I love the Saquon Barkley 80-yard touchdowns. Last season, oh my goodness, that was so much fun. Just like every game, it felt like Saquon was peace signing the defense. Like every game, he was breaking through. You would just have to wait until it would happen, and he would hit you with a home run. It would rather be to finish the game. It'd be to start the game. It was just like he brought something to the Eagles. And I also love it for Saquon that he's from, Penn State. He went to Penn State. I believe he grew up in Pennsylvania his entire life. Going to Philadelphia and bringing them a Super Bowl championship as a big member of that team was also a pretty great vibe. Something that I never thought I'd see was Saquon behind a good offensive line. We finally saw it, and it was a lot of fun. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I love the front 7, but this goes deeper than just the players they have right now. Like TJ Watt's their best player. He's one of the best players in football. He's my favorite player on the Steelers. I love how he plays. I love his mentality. I love his toughness. I love his creativity as a player, just like his vision, his playmaking skills. Alex Highsmith is a power beast. Cam Hayward is a stand-up individual, a Hall of Fame player, a great player. Then you have to add in Derek Harmon, who I was very excited for as a prospect. Then you have to add in one of my favorite prospects in recent years at linebacker, Peyton Wilson, who I thought was super underdrafted, and I think that proved to be in his first year. I love Patrick Queen as a player. They have an awesome front 7, but this goes deeper than just that. This goes to the Steel Curtain. This goes to the 2008 Steelers. This goes to the Steelers teams that I saw growing up as well. The Steelers at their best, as many people that want to bring up Terry Bradshaw or Ben Roethlisberger, at their best, they've always been about defense, but more specifically kicking your rear end up front. Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, right? Like these guys set the tone for the Steelers and what their organization and franchise would become. Then you go to Joey Porters and you go to to, Woodley's, and you go to James Harrison, and you go to James Ferrier, and you go to TJ Watt and Kevin Green. And they've always had these phenomenal edge pass rushers, these great interior players. Casey Hampton, I believe. Just the Steelers have always had big physical monsters in their front seven. The San Francisco 49ers, I love the mixture. This is modern football. This is why I love the Niners. They have kind of been this exquisite combination of what modern offense has become, along with retro offense. It's like this Bill Walsh, Mike Shanahan / Andy Reid influenced offense with playmakers galore that are entirely unique. So it's this unique combination of creativity and playmaking. George Kittle, right? Christian McCaffrey. Where are you going to find two players like that on any team in the NFL? And then you have the new guy, Ricky Pearsall, who I'm excited to see more of. Then you have Jawan Jennings, Mr. Third and Jawan. Then you have, of course, Brandon Ayuk, right? They used to have Debo, but it's this team just has that creativity, the motions, the play actions, the different formations, the run physicality, but at the same time, the detailed routes. I think Shanahan infused with these talents is just a lot of fun. The Seattle Seahawks, I am really excited for Mike Macdonald's season 2 of his defense. And specifically, I really love their interior defensive line. I think their interior defensive line is good, really good. Leonard Williams, right? Byron Murphy in year 2. Then you've got DeMarcus Lawrence added to the mix on the edge or inside. Jerron Reed, Jonathan Hankins re-signed. Talk about big dudes. Talk about depth. Talk about talent. I mean, that is pretty awesome. Reminds you a lot of who? Baltimore, right? Mike Macdonald comes from there. And then on top of that, you got guys like Witherspoon, Woolen, Love, right? So Ernest Jones. I mean, I'm really excited for Mike Macdonald to have his defense intact before the year even begins. And he's not having to scramble around and figure out pieces that fit. He actually can work with it before the year. I'm excited for that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Evans and Godwin. If I had to narrow it down to just one thing about the Bucs, it's Evans and Godwin. I think they represent everything that the Bucs have been about. It's been about underrated players that continue to shine year after year despite not really getting the respect that they deserve. It's about toughness, especially in the sake of Chris Godwin, persevering through injuries, catch after catch, hit after hit, yak after yak. Mike Evans, year after year consistency of putting up production. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, humility. I mean, just incredible dudes, really good guys. At the same time, they're not drama queens. They're not these drama receivers. They're just productive. They're just good football players, right? And that has transcended just Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield, right? That's that sturdiness of these guys have been very productive in different offenses for different quarterbacks, but there's a reason, because they just continue to grind and they don't have any real ego, which is so unique for a player like Mike Evans, especially. That's pretty crazy. The Tennessee Titans. The Cam Ward intrigue is something I'm really loving about this team. I don't love a lot about their roster currently, and I don't love a lot about their coaching staff. They're still relatively unproven, right? And I don't really want to talk about history too much here, but I think that the Cam Ward intrigue has me alert for what's going on in Tennessee. I feel like I've been sleeping on the Titans as an organization for a long time, even in those Mike Vrabel successful seasons, because they just don't have a lot, from the quarterback position, Ryan Tannehill, right? Nothing too exciting, nothing too fun. You know what I'm saying? They won on physicality and toughness. The Titans now, they've got that guy. They've got that aura that I think pulls you towards them. So I'm excited, along with their new stadium too. And the final team that I love, the Commanders. Terry McLaurin finally having a good quarterback. I mean, my goodness, how long did it take for Terry McLaurin to get a quarterback that could throw him an accurate deep ball? It took his entire career. And finally, last year, we maybe saw the best Terry McLaurin of his career with Jaden Daniels. That's just a guy that has been humble, has stuck to it, grinded, never complained, never asked for a trade, just continued to produce, and eventually he found his guy in Jaden Daniels, and now he's going to continue to thrive, I think, with the Commanders. That's something that I really admired last year. I really liked last year, was just seeing him be successful and actually be on a good team. Like, that was kind of cool. So, yeah. The Commanders there. There it is. One thing I love about your favorite NFL team entering 2025. Let me know the thing you love about your team and any other team in the comment section below. 100 likes and I'll bring you the one thing I hate about your favorite team. Peace.